Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of rslash Tifu. In today's episode, Tifu by cracking my boss's lockbox first try. Tifu by smelling my feet and ending up in the ER. Tifu by destroying half a $1,000 toolbox. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Tifu by cracking my boss's lockbox first try. Alright, so this didn't happen today but a few years ago. It was early 2019, and I worked a dead-end job. Their latest and greatest achievement at the time was creating a company currency, yikes, for employees to spend on things like gift cards to Starbucks, a paid day off, that option lasted about a week, or just random company merch. This was, of course, replacing bonuses, but whatever. It's a slow day at work and my boss shows me his fancy combination lockbox recently ordered for all management. It was for their monthly allocation of the company currency to award as they see fit to. So, as a joke, I bet my boss I could crack it 10 seconds. Arbitrary number, I had zero faith, I could just thought it'd be fun. So he passed it to me. Preface: I've never ever in my life cracked a safe or done more than picked my own door if I locked myself out. But damn it if I haven't watched The Italian Job at least 40 times. I grabbed the lockbox, placed it on the desk, and in full Charlize Theron fashion I put my ear to this thing. Look, I didn't hear sh*T. It was one of those rolling 3-digit locks on what would be about the size of a briefcase. So I spun them around a little real quick, made a really concentrated face, and pushed the release button. And it opened. Nailed it. Now here's the thing, I held my composure the whole time. For absolutely 0 seconds did I ever look like I didn't know what the f*** I was doing. And I rolled with it. I first tried this combo by pure chance, but looked my boss directly in the eyes, with my best poker face, handed it back, and turned back to my computer like nothing even happened. It took literally all of me to keep my sh*T together. It was a solid few seconds and I turned back around. He's still holding this in his hands. Processing what just happened. My boss looked at me like I just robbed him, and the trust was never the same, lol. Absolutely not amused, spouting off about wasting money. At this point I've had my fun, and admit I just won the dial lock lottery. Well, he didn't buy it. This dude really thought I was some master f***king code breaker and immediately left. Turns out, just a week into this currency's debut, somebody had stolen his stock to give out from his desk. I imagine they probably threw it in the trash. It was, shocker, not popular in employees' eyes. But there had been a whole internal investigation going on unbeknownst to me. I was now suspect number one somehow. 10 minutes later there was a meeting called for management. I was usually invited to those meetings, but surprise surprise, not this one. I got lucky and was just sent home early that day, lol. They ended up buying a safe. And that's the story of how I lost my boss's trust. My schedule s***ked for like the whole rest of the month too. I'd give my left nut for video footage of it though. Tifu by smelling my feet and ending up in the ER. This Tifu actually happened today. Or at least in the last 24 hours, either way I'm counting it. I'll be the first to admit that my feet are sometimes a little bit smelly. Some of my friends and family have lovingly said they are odorly challenged. I wash them in the shower every day, I've tried the fancy creams, but none of it seems to really help, and I've at this point accepted that I'm just naturally a stinkfoot, and will live my life with a constant faint corn chip aroma wafting from my toes. I live alone, and when in my apartment prefer not to wear socks or shoes. This is occasionally a point of contention with my girlfriend, who visits often and insists I at least wear socks when she comes over. It's mostly fun banter where she teases me for my feet smelling and I tease her for a loud burp or something like that, but sometimes after a particularly long day the foot factory releases emissions that would surely get me fined by EPA, which she rightfully hates. Yesterday she came over for dinner. It was a nice day, so we decided to get delivery from one of our favorite restaurants and eat on the balcony. Well, I'm at home, and I've already liberated my tootsies from their foot prisons, and I figured it'd be nice to set the table with some flowers for my lady. I was outside setting up when she arrived, and she came outside to greet me. Immediately she smelled my feet and recoiled in disgust. The most dramatic reaction ever. Fake vomiting, fake crying, she was hamming it up as part of our banter. I have gone a bit nose blind to them over the years, so I lean against the railing to balance and go to smell them myself to see how bad they were. This was my mistake. I'm a burly guy, and this poor railing could not handle my equally overdramatic reaction of throwing my head back and screaming. It gave way. Luckily, I'm only on the second floor, so I only fell maybe 25 feet, but it felt like it lasted a solid minute. It was at least long enough of a fall for me to reflect on the situation and feel like an idiot for dying from smelling my own feet. The aftermath is a fractured rib and dislocated shoulder, and my girlfriend never letting me live this down. Tifu by destroying half a $1,000 toolbox. We moved back in May of this year and have a larger, more functional garage. I've never had a great working space or storage for my tools, which I've been accumulating steadily over the last 5 years. My cantilever toolbox just isn't cutting it anymore. I wanted a large, rolling tool chest to get some of the tools organized and out of boxes. I've been talking to my wife about it for a while and searching Craigslist/Facebook for used boxes, but never seemed to have the right timing and missed a few opportunities. Out of the blue, I got a small bonus from work and decided to pull the trigger on a new toolbox. After a lot of research, I settled on the Husky Industrial 52-inch cabinet combo at Home Depot. I placed my order online and decided to pick it up myself, considering some of the terrible reviews around Home Depot delivery and just being cheap. While running errands with a few of the kids, I decided I'd stop and pick it up. 2 Home Depot team members brought the box out and attempted to lift it in the back of my truck. Admittedly, even I thought it was lighter than it was, but this thing is a solid 550 pounds. They didn't seem keen on taking it apart, and admittedly this was my first mistake. The top and bottom cabinets were attached by 2 elbow brackets and 8 screws. It would have been simple enough to go get a hex wrench and split it in 2. They called 2 more team members to try and lift it and couldn't. At this time, they decided to get the forklift and load it in the back of my truck. Once on the truck, one of the team members aligned in longways on one of the sides of the truck and then disembarked. Being cognizant that I'd be driving with the toolbox, I thought it prudent to put a ratchet strap around the box to hold it to the side of the truck. I should also mention my truck bed has a ribbed liner, which arguably made the box a little unsteady. Given that this box also stands 5 feet tall, I had to spend a bit of time getting the strap positioned properly. I wanted to put a second strap across the toolbox, pulling in the opposite direction, but the 2-year-old started having a meltdown. It was dinner time, and the ratchet jammed. I spent about 5 to 10 minutes trying to unjam it, but couldn't. I decided to drive slow as my house was only about 3 miles away. This was mistake number 2. I turned right cautiously onto the main road. Checking my mirror, everything looked good. I drove about 20 to 30 miles an hour and made my way to the first left turn. Even seeing cars line up behind me at the light, I told myself, just drive slow. Turn wide. When the light switched, I did just that. Before I even made the full turn, I heard the box tip and the top portion hit the ground. Parking my truck just past the curb in the right-hand lane, I took a few seconds to take the Lord's name in vain and let out some choice expletives. Gathering myself, I got out to inspect the damage. The top of the toolbox had ripped itself away from the bottom thanks to centrifugal force and gravity. The face of the toolbox must have hit the curb as several of the drawers were dented in. Pieces were lying all over the road. I threw as many pieces into the box as I could and dragged it to the grass. There was no way I was going to lift it by myself into the truck. Getting back in the truck, I felt absolutely numb. I drove the kids in home and put them down at the dinner table, while I went to check on the bottom piece. It was tilted on its side, still strapped down, and no worse for wear. I was worried the casters would be bent, but it appears they survived without damage. It took me about 5 to 10 minutes to calm myself to tell my wife what happened. I then texted my neighbor to help me go salvage the box, which was a joy to retrieve. I called Home Depot and was fairly calm. I said, "Let me tell you about the last 30 minutes of my life. I should have told your team to take it apart, but didn't. And here's what happened." Their response was pretty much what I thought: "You bought the last one. We might have exchanged it for you, but can't because there's no more stock. You might get it exchanged at another store, but that's up to their manager even if ours approved it. I don't see any way that's going to happen." So now I've got a $1,000 toolbox where the top is arguably beyond repair. I honestly don't have the time to sit down and try to bang out the damage. My neighbor thinks I can get $100 for it by listing it on Craigslist or something, but I highly doubt it. Most likely, I'll get $20 for it at a scrap yard. A new top is going to run me $400 and won't have some of the features, but some may be transferable. The silver lining is most of the cost was covered by my bonus, but it's still S**CK's having an expensive learning experience like this.